All right, John Harbaugh has his coaching staff. Now it's time for him to look ahead to the NFL draft. This first pick of his Giants head coaching tenure, he's going to be married to this pick. So our New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby has his 2026 NFL mock draft 2.0 up, and he has Harbaugh coming in making some waves with this pick. What do we got there, Serby? Oh, the draft card is in. The draft card is in already at 5. Didn't have to wait for any commercials or anything.
Well, this is a play on Karnak the Magnificent from Johnny Carson.
Okay.
Before your time, you
Way
probably don't even
before my
remember it.
I haven't seen any social media
All
clips of it.
We'll go with the draft card is in.
Yes.
Safety Caleb Downs.
You're shaking things up.
Look, you draft who you consider the best player, and I consider this guy, if not the best player in the draft, one of the top 3 best players in the draft. Here's a guy, John Harbaugh knows what it's like to have a dominating safety. Ed Reed, he had Brian Dawkins, and Kyle Hamilton, who was the 14th pick a couple of years ago at safety. But Caleb Downs is a difference maker. He's a culture and tone setter, and he is as clean a prospect as you will find. Many years ago, I remember the Jets in 1981. You probably don't remember who they drafted. Running back Freeman McNeil with the 2nd overall pick. If the Jets had not drafted Freeman McNeil, they needed a running back desperately. They would have taken a safety, Kenny Easley, who ended up in the Hall of Fame. But the Jets needed Freeman McNeil, and he got them to the Mud Bowl. But anyway, look, Caleb Downs can bolster a secondary that badly needs bolstering. And you put him, a playmaker like Caleb Downs, behind those pass rushers, Brian Burns and Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence, and maybe for 1 year, Kayvon Thibodeau. You got that can make things happen in a hurry for the new defensive coordinator, Denard Wilson, who, by the way, has a background coaching secondaries. So Caleb Downs is my pick. You could argue offensive line. The Giants will need help on offensive line after all the cap restructuring and cap victims. You could argue wide receiver for Jackson Dart. In my mock 1, I had Carnell Tate from Ohio State. He would be an option. And, of course, even cornerback would be an option. But I'll take the cleanest prospect, the best prospect, Caleb Downs.
And I absolutely hate it and love it at the same time, because at 5, I would never, when I do my Madden, when I put my Madden GM hat and I'm drafting, I would never draft a safety at 5, but he is so good. You can't boo the pick. When you turn the tape on, and we put a draft breakdown, draft profile up on our YouTube page. When you break down the film, he's all over the field, and he punt returns, Serby. So there's
he's versatile. You can put him just about anywhere in the secondary. And, hey, Sean Taylor was a top 5 pick.
Absolutely.
Eric Berry from the Chiefs was a top 5 pick. Both of them were safeties. This guy, look, if you're picking in the top 5, you want a guy who you can envision in a gold jacket in Canton, Ohio. And I can see this guy wearing a gold jacket.
And usually, Serby, when you look at it and you're like, oh, well, we just paid Javon Holland, or, oh, well, we drafted Tyler Nubin in the 2nd round. Caleb Downs is so good. Like, it makes both of them disposable. Like, especially with the new head coach, new defensive coordinator coming in. Like, that means nothing. One, that means nothing already to those new coaches that are coming in. But 2, they're looking at it. If I got a chance to draft this tape, this highlight tape that I'm watching, this walking highlight tape, I'm bringing him to my defense. I'm bringing this kid onto my roster. So it's like he's so good, he makes anyone disposable at that position. And
now, Joe Schoen, of course, probably would not draft Caleb Downs because of positional value. He got rid of Julian Love. He didn't re-sign him. He didn't re-sign Xavier McKinney. But John Harbaugh's calling the shots. And John Harbaugh, if you're going to start with the New York Football Giants, you start with a guy who you believe cannot miss, the safest pick in the draft.
Yeah, and I think Caleb Downs will be more special than Xavier McKinney and Julian Love. Like Julian Love has now won a Super Bowl, but I look at Caleb Downs being part of a defense that, like, he's a reason they're winning Super Bowls. You know, that kid, he just jumps out on the tape. All right, do you have a trade scenario? Because at number 5, things can come alive, Serby. There's going to be a lot of phone calls being made to Joe Schoen and John Harbaugh at number 5. Are there any trades you think can be made on draft night?
There's no trade I would want to make if Caleb Downs is on the board.
Really?
Giants do not need a quarterback. So take the best player, and the best player is Caleb Downs. No trade.
And you're standing 10 toes down on that.
Yes, I am.
You love that kid that much.
Everybody loves the kid.
But Serby, you don't see a scenario where they could trade that 5th pick back to 13 to 17, and Caleb Downs could still be there.
No, he won't. He won't be there. He won't be there. Nope. Cincinnati wouldn't pass on him at 10, I don't believe. So stick and pick. Take a guy who can be the face of your defense along with Abdul Carter for the next 8 years.
Yeah.
For as long as John Harbaugh is the New York Football Giants coach.
All right, tease us on the 3.0, Serby. What do you tease us on another scenario for the Giants in your 3.0?
Well, they have the 37th pick. I don't do the second round. I'm very tempted to stick with Caleb Downs, but I got a lot of film study to do. I had Carnell Tate for Jackson Dart in my mock 1. I have Caleb Downs in my mock 2. And the more I study film, who knows? Maybe somebody else will catch my eye. You like Jordan Tyson, don't you?
I like him. I want him to stay. I wish he could stay healthy, but I like how sudden he is. He's another Malik Neighbors. You could have 2 in one receiver's room. So
the two highly rated offensive tackles will also be in play, because assume if the Giants do not want to pay Jermaine Illuminor, there will be a hole at right tackle that they may not trust Marcus Bowe to fill. So the kid from Miami, I can't pronounce his name. You can. Moaga.
Moaga. Yeah.
See what I mean? Yeah.
We'll work on it.
That's why I wanted you to do it. Or Spencer Fano from Utah. Those are also considerations, I believe, at number 5.
All right. Well, we'll check back in for 3.0. Appreciate you, Serby.
Thank you, Brandon.